Hello, my name is Kyle Olson. I received my PhD from the Department of Anthropology at the University of Pennsylvania in 2020, where I wrote a dissertation about the relationship between long-distance trade and political organization in Bronze Age Iran, in which I specialized in comparative iconographic studies, database design, and geospatial analytics. I have participated in field projects in Hungary, Azerbaijan, Oman, and Turkmenistan, as well as many places in the United States. Though trained as a field archaeologist, in recent times I have become more of a historian of archaeology. This came about as a result of Donald Trump's so-called Muslim ban, which prevented me from conducting field research in Iran for my dissertation as originally planned. Consequently, and perhaps somewhat unsurprisingly, I became interested in the relationship between field archaeology and foreign policy. The institution where I worked as a graduate student, the University of Pennsylvania Museum of Archaeology and Anthropology, is one of the best places in the world to study this topic. The Penn Museum Archive has in fact been my main field site for the past 2 years, as I examine the history of American archaeology abroad. As a fellow at ANAMED, I will be investigating how American archaeologists affected and were affected by foreign aid and technical assistance programs during the Cold War in the Middle East. With Dr. Christina Luke, I am working on a project titled Archaeology and Dam-Led Development in Mid-20th Century Turkey and Iran, a Cold War history of foreign aid, field science, and modernization. Our materials and methods are primarily archival, working with documents from the Penn Museum, the Oriental Institute in Chicago, the U.S. Foreign Service and State Department archives, as well as memoirs written by foreign aid workers from the time. In this work, we will examine the relationship between hydroelectric dam construction and field archaeology. In past research, this relationship has most often been understood in terms of the destruction of heritage sites and landscapes. While it is undeniable that river valley inundation threatens archaeological sites and historic monuments with flooding, rendering sites inaccessible and potentially destroyed altogether, the links between these mega-infrastructural development projects and archaeological research extend far beyond the imperative of salvage and rescue. Now, it should be said that salvage and rescue was the initial impetus for connecting dam-led development to archaeological research in the southeastern United States during the New Deal era as part of the Tennessee Valley Authority. But what is interesting for us is that this model of infrastructural modernization was exported to countries such as Turkey and Iran as part of soft power programs during the early decades of the Cold War. As a result of the legal mandates that emerged out of TVA salvage work, archaeology became closely involved in these dam projects abroad as well, both in planning and in mitigation. Thus, cultural heritage became entangled in great power competition in the Middle East during the mid-20th century, as the USSR and the USA jockeyed for geostrategic pole position. For both world powers, Turkey and Iran were recognized as key regional players, and considerable effort was expended to bring both countries into the superpowers' respective spheres of influence. This project therefore investigates the history of how archaeology became an important component of certain categories of foreign aid programs. Its results will illuminate the broader ramifications of this history to understand the role of Turkey and Iran in, among other things, global trajectories of modernization and rural development, geopolitical hegemonic projects, and the relationship between cultural heritage and foreign aid. Ultimately, this project will help us understand a number of issues related to the trajectory of another important domain of contact between archaeology and development, relating to the emergence of cultural tourism as a major field of investment in foreign aid. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm looking forward to meeting all of you in person.